Hello, good evening, and welcome everyone to another live stream. So first of all, a big thank you for everyone who's going to turn up to watch this stream tonight. And I'm really pleased. We've got a really special guest this evening, and I'm going to introduce him in a second to you. But before I do that, we do have to go through the formalities. Namely, if you're watching this on Facebook, share and like it. If you're watching it on YouTube, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell. We do those things, please. If you want to find social media links to all my other channels, they're down below in the description. Make sure you're following me over there. If you like what you're hearing, thumbs up. If you don't like what you're hearing, just shh. Moving on. And finally, if you want to help us out, help the channel, go to altnewsmedia.net/donate. Do all those things, please. And then the other thing to do, by the way, is we do have super chats enabled. So if you want your point to be brought to the attention of myself and our special guest, then just hit a super chat and that should enable that. So I think that's pretty much the formalities. So last evening on the stream, folks, you'll know that I spoke about the American election and not just the election, but Donald Trump's appearance at the CPAC a couple of nights ago and the speech that he made, which I thought was really, really interesting. And so I wanted to explore in much more depth this issue of Trump, his reemergence. Well, he hadn't really gone away, had he, on the US political scene. I wanted to do that. And the guy that I wanted to discuss it with is a chap which some of you may have heard of. He's very well known across in the States. He's well known on Twitter. His name is Pastor Brown, Pastor Rodney Brown. So Rodney, I've done a stream with Rodney before on a different channel, but I wanted to bring him on here to this channel so you could meet him and hear what he has to say, because he's a really interesting chap. I wanted to play a short video before I bring Rodney on. I want to show you a clip of Rodney in action about a year ago. Rodney can correct me if I'm wrong. Can we play the video, please?
They don't want us to do this, but just turn around and greet 2 or 3 people. Tell them you love them. Jesus loves them. Amen. Listen, this has to be the safest place. I said this has to be the safest place. If you cannot be safe in church, you're in serious trouble. We are not stopping anything. I got news for you. This church will never close. The only time the church is closed is when the rapture is taking place. This Bible school is open because we're raising up revivalists, not pansies.
That was Rodney in action in his church. I think it was last March. And by the way, the consequence of that is in the next slide, if we just bring it up. Yeah, Florida pastor Rodney Brown was arrested for holding 2 large services. And then you get the usual whining from the COVID bedwetters. But anyway, Rodney showed his mettle. He showed his mettle since. It's a real pleasure to bring him onto the stream. So please join me in welcoming Pastor Rodney Brown. Rodney, you're very welcome to the stream.
Hey, David. Obviously, you guys are doing amazing, and I get to watch quite a few of your broadcasts that you've been doing. So thank you for your voice across Europe and around the world. So we really appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you, Rodney. Thank you, Rodney. The thing is, what I wanted to chat to you about, particularly, Rodney, is we've gone through a tumultuous couple of months. I think the last time we spoke was running up to the US presidential election. And what happened. And because we're on Facebook and YouTube, Rodney, we can't talk too much about that because they're all ears, as you know. But the fact is, it was a very disappointing result. Certainly, like yourself, I wanted Trump back in the White House. But fate or events always kind of work out. And I watched Donald Trump 2 nights ago at CPAC making a speech, which I'm going to play a little bit. Let's just play a very short clip of his speech, Rodney, and then I want your thoughts. Play, President, this little clip.
His campaign was all lies, talked about energy. I said, this guy actually, he's okay with energy. He wasn't okay with energy. He wants to put you all out of business. He's not okay with energy. He wants windmills, the windmills that don't work when you need them. Joe Biden has had the most disastrous first month of any president in modern history. That's true. Already the Biden administration has proven that they are anti-jobs, anti-family, anti-borders, anti-energy, anti-women, and anti-science. In just one short month, we have gone from America first to America last. You think about it, right? America last.
And there it is, Rodney. I thought it was a terrific speech. What did you think?
I thought he did great. I'm still trying to work out actually what's happening. To be honest with you, I think we haven't even seen President Biden in over 3 days. The whole of Washington's still on lockdown. Looks like a giant prison. There's a lot of things that still don't add up. I think with the last time we talked on the show, nothing added up. So it's almost like even though Biden won, they lost. And even though Trump lost, it looks like he won. I can't put my finger on it. It's like kind of bizarre in a way. That sounded to me like another campaign speech, like he was still campaigning, and he seemed chilled. He seemed relaxed. I don't know. There's a lot of things happening in America right now that to me, I just don't add up. Don't add up.
Well, yeah. I think, Rodney, that it sounded like a campaign speech to me. That's how I interpret it. He hit so many trigger points. And the other thing about it is, Rodney, I think Trump's 74, but, he seemed very dynamic on stage, very virile. And if you compare that to Biden, who already looks completely, hollowed out, hiding, and he's still hiding in his in the White House basement, it seems to me, the contrast for American people cannot be greater at this point in time. A dynamic Trump who seems to be really on the issues, and Biden who, as you say, Rodney, I don't even know where he is or how he can continue as president. If this is after a month, he seems incapable of speech.
What I'm hearing from the inside, and this is of course not verified, but that once a week, Walter Reed Hospital closes everything down, and Marine One flies in there, and Biden comes in there for 1 day, and then they send him back. So I don't know if they give him a blood transfusion. I don't know what. We can't even put our finger on what's going on. So there's a lot of stuff you're hearing. I know that number 2 from Homeland Security was down in Orlando, Florida, and told friends of mine, they said, whatever you see happening in D.C. is not happening. It's all an illusion. It's all smoke and mirrors. So there's so much going on. Again, I've never seen a time like this. It's almost like Biden is just a figurehead or puppet, but there's other people behind the scenes running everything, as you see what's happening with Syria right now, and just everything being stirred up again in the Middle East. With Trump, no military activity for 4 years. And now suddenly we've got troops in Syria and just crazy stuff that's happening. So gas prices here in the States is going up through the roof. But if you heard Trump talking, he was still talking about the economy and how I was like, okay, there's 2 worlds going on here. The one is the world of Biden and Kamala and the media, and the other one is the world of Trump. Which world are we actually living in? So it's a crazy. Again, I'm speechless. Really, when I look at it, I just shake my head, and I just throw up my hands and just say, I don't know what's going on. People have asked me from all over. I said, look, I don't know. Don't know.
Yeah, it's certainly, Rodney, from our point of view, this side of the Atlantic, what we see is Biden gets into the White House. He starts signing these executive orders at a hyperspeed rate of knots. So it's government by fiat in these first number of months. But by the same token, the guy who's signing the orders doesn't really seem to be connected with what he's doing. So, before this, a lot of people said he is a puppet. He's been installed as a puppet. Other people are pulling his strings. Is that how you say it?
Yeah, to me, it was like the industrial military complex took control, like the deep state took control of the whole government. And basically, they're using Biden as a figurehead, and they're just going ahead and doing. I think there's things happening that Biden doesn't even know they happen. He has no control over. So, in some ways, we felt like maybe the military took over. We didn't know. We were trying to ask ourselves: did Trump sign the Insurrection Act? Did the military take over? What is actually going on? We couldn't put our finger. How come Kamal is talking to world leaders when really that's the job of the president? So, the first month, I'm focused on many different things, and I kind of just been laughing at Washington and laughing at the media because it's just, and then I watch CPAC, and then you watch all of these conservatives going in there, and they're all living in la-la land, a lot of them, and they're all like, oh, we're going to do a comeback in 22, and then in 24, who's going to run for it? And I'm going, you guys don't seem to understand what just happened. If the most powerful person in the world, Donald J. Trump, and against the establishment, against mainstream media, against the deep state, could not pull off a successful win, okay, he lost, as you and I know, wink, wink, okay? If he couldn't pull off a total win, then who do these people think they are that they're going to craft a comeback? They're going to take the Congress and they take the Senate, and there's going to be a Republican nominee. I mean, they're delusional. It is not happening.
Well, see, Rodney, it's really interesting you say that because I think exactly the same as you. I hear all the words, and a lot of the words are good, but your point is the fundamental point. What we saw in 2020 can be repeated in 2022 and 2024, and indeed actually ad infinitum. So it's like the Republican, the GOP, seems to be in sort of denial as to what actually happened. Is that what you would think? Do you think?
The GOP, first of all, they didn't understand. They actually thought that they won all of those congressional seats and the senatorial seats, which they did not lose, that was a huge miracle. They thought they won it because they were GOP. They didn't realize they won it on the strength of Trump. Regardless of whether people felt that there was fraud or no fraud, the fact of the matter is that, did you see the crowds lining the streets for President Trump? Just on 2 days ago, I mean, it was like huge. You would have thought so. The GOP is in total denial. I mean, if they think that people that support Trump are going to vote for them, it's not happening. It is not happening. I know the president said there won't be a third party and all of that kind of stuff. And I know that he's supporting even nominees now that actually voted for his impeachment and stuff like that. I have no clue what's even going on with him. So, look, I throw up my hands and I just think it's a joke. The whole thing is a political satire joke.
Well, yeah, you see, Rodney, it's really interesting what you say. I mean, I think these are hard-hitting facts you're putting out there, but I think they're very valid. For me, and I'm not even an American, right? But Trump was betrayed by a big chunk of his own party, like he was. And I'm not just talking about the Mitch McConnells of this world and the Liz Cheneys of this world. It was a widespread betrayal, and yet there he is back, and he's suggesting that there won't be a MAGA party; it will be the one party. Now, maybe that's pragmatic. I mean, you could argue he's just being a pragmatist. If you create a third party, you conquer, you divide, and you will be conquered. But there's a certain unreality about it, as you point out, isn't there?
Not only that, I mean, the left is on a hell-bent destruction of the United States. So what will be left in 2 years' time? Will there be anything left to even salvage? I mean, it's like warp factor 1 on signing everything. Like, how crazy can you even get? I mean, talk about transgender. It goes on and on. This thing the House just passed last week, which was H.R. 5 on the Equality Act and what they're planning to do. I mean, it's beyond the pale. It's like everything's on acceleration. It's like whatever Obama did in 8 years, they want to do in 3 months. And I think it's going to backfire, and I don't think they're going to get done what they want to accomplish, but I don't think it's going to be done through the GOP. I don't think it's going to be done through Congress or the Senate or the executive branch or the Supreme Court or the deep state. I think the American people are waking up to what's going on, and I think they're going to dig in deep and they're going to put their foot down. So they all of the powers that be can expect a backlash that's going to come from total basically people are just going to say we ain't doing any of that stuff. So you can vote whatever you want to. You can do by illegal fiat. You can run a country, but we are not complying. And that's what I see going to happen to tens upon tens of millions of people. So how that's going to play out in the next 2 to 4 years, I don't know. But it's not going to be what they think. The American people, you can push them so far. And I'm not talking about civil war. I'm not talking about armed conflict. I'm just talking about people just saying, no. I heard this now, just before coming on your show, that the governor of the state of Texas just opened the whole state and no mask mandate. And that's the governor of the state of Texas that was dragging his heels. And so, but of course, you've got the liberal counties or the liberal cities with the mayors that going to buck the system. That's what we're even dealing with in Florida. I got thrown out of a store on Saturday. I went to go buy a pair of sunglasses, and they said to me, "You got to wear a mask." I said, "No, I'm immune from the virus." And I said, they said, "Well, you have to leave because we've got other customers here." And I didn't even feel like arguing with the guy. I wanted to say, you're in violation of the governor of the state of Florida, who's already declared that mask mandates are done away with. But it's a national chain. And so I just felt, I'm just leaving. And I walked out. I didn't even say anything and just left. So I didn't buy the sunglasses, but I left. So anyway, it's crazy what's happening, but that's the way it is.
I think Rodney, one of our regulars here on the stream, City Troll, who's someone I know from Pennsylvania, he actually echoes your very point. He says right now the GOP can't win anything. It's the people that have to fix it, although he doesn't see how the people are going to fix it. But I think this is one of the difference, between America and the UK. In America, there's still a belief in the power of the people to change stuff. Here in the nanified, supine UK, we still look to Boris and the government, and who are a bunch of globalist shills, by the way. So we're looking to entirely the wrong place. But I would hope that American people, can find a way to deal with what's happening, because it seems to me, Rodney, again, just a thought, that America is being pushed towards techno-socialism, communism. Is that how you would say it?
There's no doubt. We were talking about this yesterday with a group of people, that there's a radio network that runs across Cuba to basically show the evils of communism. that's being funded by the U.S. government right now, and it's been for many years. And they broadcast 24/7. It's an American propaganda thing against communism, and they're doing that across Cuba, while in America they're pushing communism. So you're watching this it's like the world of the insane. So what I think is going to happen is, and this is happening more and more, where the American people are just saying, we're not doing that. We're not going to obey. We're not obeying. And you're going to see millions of people just not obey. They're just going to be disobedient and not obey. So where that's going to go, I don't know. But I guess we're going to find out.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that, Rodney, like, one of the things that certainly made a huge impact on the election last year was the emergence of the China virus, the COVID-19, and how the media played that and all of that. And we'll not go back over old history, but it nonetheless made a huge difference. And of course, the media portrayed it as it was the Spanish flu brought back, and it was going to wipe out, gazillions of people. And then magically, when Sleepy Joe got into the White House, all of a sudden, there's relaxations going on around the states. And I think the state you're in, Rodney, in Florida, is one of the states that's flourishing the best because of the very sensible policies, by and large, put in place by Governor DeSantis.
No doubt. What we try and encourage local businesses to branch out, like the stores or the shops that are giving the biggest problems are the nationwide chains. So basically, we try and encourage business people here. Like, let's say the one would be a national sunglass place, which I just bumped into that on Saturday. So we try and encourage people start a local sunglass place to get sunglasses that's local, that doesn't adhere to the national chain's policies. So the same will happen with independent restaurants, independent businesses that are not subject to a national chain. And I think that's what you're seeing with North Dakota. They have their own money system with their own private bank. Really, North Dakota has that. I think you're going to see a lot of that happen. And I think where the problem has come about, that the globalists underestimated America. They thought America was one country that they could just ramrod and make a decision, but they didn't understand America is actually 50 countries, 50 different states, and the states are sovereign. So I think with before, when president was running for office, a lot of the governors were playing like on the fence, trying not to be tied with him. But I think now you're going to see the red states are going to go ultra red, and the blue will go ultra blue, and there will be a division in the country along those lines. But that's always been America. It was always the fight along those lines. So I don't believe they're going to get it right. And they're running out of time. I mean, 4 years goes by like snapping your finger. So it's not like, oh, we're going to do this. They'll implement all those things by fiat, but the people are going to resist and just ignore it and just keep going ahead and doing what they need to do. And there'll be lawsuit after lawsuit. And I just see people gearing up for the biggest fight you can imagine. And I'm not, again, referring to armed conflict or a civil war kind of situation, because the American people, for the most part, are not violent. They don't want that kind of thing. I mean, they're going to continue to stir up, the stuff they can with Antifa and Black Lives Matter. But for the most part, that'll just be in the liberal leftist areas. But that's not going to happen in an ultra red state where the people are heavily armed, and they're just not going to do it.